Stop right now. Stop pouring more fertilizer into the plant that is drooping its leaves and clinging to its life. Do you think stuffing it with fertilizer is saving it? That is a complete mistake. Scientifically speaking, pouring chemical fertilizer into a damaged root system means you are creating an osmotic shock. The massive amount of salt in the fertilizer will drain every last precious drop of water from inside the root cells, forcing the plant to commit suicide faster. I know you are frustrated. You water it regularly every day, applying all kinds of expensive inorganic fertilizers to the base. But every single leaf just turns yellow and falls off, and the stem becomes increasingly withered and pitiful. Stop wasting more money buying root-stimulating chemicals from agricultural stores. The only thing that can snatch your plant back from the hands of death is not found there. It lies right in the blister pack of painkillers that costs exactly 5,000 kilos VND kept in your family's medicine cabinet. What I am referring to is the aspirin pill you usually take whenever you have a headache. It sounds crazy, but let science speak. The core ingredient of this medicine is salicylic acid, which is extracted from the bark of the willow tree. Its original nature is actually a super hormone that regulates plant growth. When you dissolve a 500 milliliter pill into exactly 1 liter of clean water and pour it directly into the base area of the sick potted plant, a biological explosion will immediately occur right under the soil. This acid-containing water stream will send out an emergency alarm signal, tricking the plant into believing it is being brutally attacked by bacteria. Immediately, the plant activates its ultimate biological defense mechanism known as systemic acquired resistance. This mechanism works exactly like injecting a vaccine. The plant will awaken from its lethargy, channel 100% of its emergency energy, push out young root shoots, pierce through the barren soil, and thicken its leaf cell membranes for solid self-defense. In just 24 hours, the dying state will give way to a fierce vitality. This is the absolute power of molecular biology, helping you revive your garden in the blink of an eye. Take action right now, and do not hesitate for another second. To activate this survival system, you only need exactly 3 seconds and extremely simple steps. But deeply engrave this vital warning in your mind. Absolutely do not use any painkillers that are mixed with paracetamol or ibuprofen. You are only allowed to use the exact original aspirin pill. This is the golden ratio that you must remember carefully. Take 1 500 milliliter aspirin pill and use a spoon to crush it into a very fine powder. Then completely dissolve this powder into exactly 1 liter of clean water. If you use tap water, run the water into a basin and leave it untouched for 24 hours so that all the chlorine gas evaporates completely. Do not let the chemicals in tap water continue to destroy your already dying root system. Once the solution is ready, we will launch a direct attack with 2 emergency prongs. The first prong: pour a portion of the solution into a spray bottle and spray it heavily onto both sides of all the leaves. The plant will immediately absorb the salicylic acid through thousands of tiny stomata on the surface, creating a lightning-fast resuscitation dose. The second prong: slowly pour the remaining water directly into the soil around the base. This water stream containing biological power will seep deep into the ground, awakening every dying root hair. Repeat this process periodically once every 30 days. You will be amazed to witness life rising up in an incredibly fierce manner. The giant fertilizer manufacturing corporations out there never want you to know this secret. They only want you to forever depend on those toxic, inorganic fertilizer bags, forcing your plants to consume dry chemicals. The consequence is that the topsoil will gradually become hardened, and the natural microbiome will be completely destroyed. Meanwhile, this tiny pill is the exact opposite. It does not force the plant to eat. but it teaches the plant how to fight for its own survival. Even better, when this solution soaks deep into the soil, it becomes the absolute nemesis of black mold and the cruel bacteria that cause root rot. You are equipping your garden with an unparalleled invisible armor using just one incredibly cheap pill. That is the difference in class between blindly abusing fertilizers and understanding core scientific principles. Just exactly 7 days after watering, if you use your hands to gently dig up the surface soil, you will get goosebumps. New root shoots, pure white, healthy, and full of vitality, are bursting out and anchoring tightly into the ground. From a drooping plant that seemed destined for the trash can, it now stands tall and proud, reaching out its dark green leaves, full of vitality to catch the sunlight. Never give up hope on the potted plants in your home garden. They have an incredibly fierce desire to live. They are just waiting for you to flip the right biological switch. How many times have you thrown away expensive potted plants just because of a lack of knowledge? Today, that tragic cycle must end. Step right out to the nearest pharmacy, buy a blister pack of pills immediately, and save your garden with your own hands. If this scientific knowledge awakens you, hit the like button. Share this video with those who are also despairing over dying plants, and hit the subscribe button right away. I will bring you even more shocking gardening secrets. Take action now, because your plant is crying for help. Now, we will dive deep into each step of this divine formula. Listen very carefully, because a small mistake can make all your efforts to save the plant go down the drain. First is the step of purchasing ingredients. Step out to your local pharmacy and ask to buy the exact original aspirin tablet. Absolutely stay away from cold medicines or painkillers that are mixed with other active ingredients like paracetamol or ibuprofen. These medical additives meant for humans not only have no effect in curing plants, but also risk clogging the entire fragile water-conducting vascular system inside the plant's stem. Next is the step of preparing water for the solution. Do not rush to turn on the tap and mix the medicine immediately. Tap water contains a lot of chlorine gas and fluoride to kill bacteria, but for a plant root system that is weak and full of wounds, that is a dose of poison, dealing an additional fatal blow. Collect exactly 1 liter of clean water in a plastic basin and let it sit still in a cool, well-ventilated place for a full 24 hours. This time will help the chemicals evaporate completely into the air. If you can collect 1 liter of natural rainwater, that would be the most perfect condition for this revival. Once the water is ready, we begin the mixing process. Take out exactly 1 pill with a 500 ml dosage. Use the back of a metal spoon to crush the pill into a very fine powder. The finer the powder, the easier it dissolves in water, and the faster your plant can absorb the nutrients. Slowly sprinkle this white powder into the 1 liter of water you have prepared. Use a chopstick to stir evenly and continuously for 3 minutes until you no longer see any white residue floating or speckled in the water. At this point, you officially hold in your hands a perfectly flawless solution containing salicylic acid. The way to use this solution also requires finesse and an understanding of biology. We absolutely do not dump all this water into the base of the plant mindlessly. Divide this solution into 2 equal parts. For the first part, pour it into a misting spray bottle. The golden time to spray the leaves is at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. when the sunlight is no longer harsh. You hold the spray bottle and aim directly at the underside of the leaves. Why must you spray the underside? Because that is exactly where millions of tiny plant stomata are concentrated, where the plant breathes. When these hormone-filled mist droplets touch the underside of the leaves, The plant will fully absorb every drop of precious nutrients in just 15 short minutes. The remaining solution in the basin will be used to water directly into the soil at the base. But do not water right up against the main stem. Water around the edge of the pot's soil, about 5 centimeters away from the base of the plant. This is the area where the fine roots and feeder roots are desperately reaching out to search for a source of life. As this water-carrying medicinal power soaks deep down, it will sweep through and completely destroy the black mold spores and root rot-causing bacteria hiding deep underground. Every single root hair will begin to awaken, brimming with sap, and immediately resume the process of pumping water up the stem. For rose pots that are suffering from yellowing leaves and constant bud drop, just about 5 days after applying this formula, new shoots will begin to sprout, red and plump, from branches that seemed completely withered. As for indoor foliage plants lacking natural light, this solution will activate a much stronger photosynthesis process, causing pale leaves to quickly regain their characteristic emerald green color. This is absolutely not a mythical miracle, but a highly precise biochemical reaction between the plant cell structure and the natural anti-inflammatory active ingredient. You only need to perform this exact process just once, and then patiently observe the miraculous changes of nature over the next 30 days. The multi-billion-dollar fertilizer manufacturing industry out there is hiding a terrible truth from you. They spend piles of money on advertising and planting a false belief in your head that if a plant is sick, you must immediately pour a lot of chemicals into the pot. But do you know what actually happens under that soil when you sprinkle those red, green, and blue NPK fertilizer granules down there? That is not a nutritious meal, but rather an incredibly brutal destruction of the ecosystem. When these inorganic fertilizers dissolve, they create a massive and burning salt concentration. Your dying, tender root hairs, instead of being healed, are burned black by these salt crystals in just a few hours. Worse yet, the residual chemicals will kill billions of beneficial microorganisms living underground. Healthy earthworms hastily leave. The symbiotic mycorrhizal network is completely severed. The clump of soil in your pot turns into a hardened, compacted mass that can neither retain water nor drain it. Your plant at this point is like a patient on oxygen who is forced to eat dry and toxic food. Meanwhile, the tiny aspirin pill operates on a completely great and superior scientific philosophy. The active ingredient salicylic acid does not provide even a single bit of food for the plant. That's right. You heard correctly. It does not stuff, does not force your plant to eat. Instead, it plays the role of a harsh survival instructor. It transmits a biochemical signal running along the stem, warning that the enemy is near and the plant must rise up on its own to fight for its life using its own wild instincts. Instead of opening its mouth, passively waiting for fertilizer granules to drop in, the plant has all its potential awakened. It automatically secretes endogenous hormones to extend its fine roots through the barren soil. It knows how to synthesize chlorophyll to make its leaves glossy green and thicker to withstand heat waves or heavy rains. Chemical fertilizers turn your plant into a weak creature, completely dependent on stimulants. The moment you stop fertilizing, the plant withers. But the biological method from this pill trains your garden to have unparalleled resistance, rising up proudly on its own, regardless of any harsh weather. Not only stopping at awakening the immune system from within, this acid-containing water stream, when soaking deep into the ground, also creates a bloody purge against the cruel pathogens lurking about. Do you know why plants grown with inorganic fertilizers are so prone to white mold on the soil surface and pitch-black root rot at the bottom of the pot? Because the nitrogen residue in the soil is a lavish feast for harmful bacteria to multiply and flourish. But when our magical water stream floods in, the natural anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties extracted from willow bark will immediately wipe out all those disease-causing mold spores. Those root rot-causing pathogens, those nematodes that are scheming to gnaw at the plant's base, will be completely inhibited. Your potting soil is returned to its most sterile and pure state. The tiny pill, costing only a few thousand dong, has silently cast an invisible protective net, a solid biological armor enveloping the entire sensitive root system. The power of the natural world always harbors miracles, far surpassing chemical laboratories. And understanding this ultimate molecular biological mechanism is the only key to crushing those toxic chemicals, returning the most original and fierce life to every branch and blade of grass in your home garden. Just exactly 7 days from the moment you water the last drops of the solution into the pot, a true miracle has quietly taken place under that dark soil. If at this moment you use your fingers to gently dig up the surface soil to observe, I guarantee that you will get goosebumps in amazement. The old pitch-black roots of the past have now been pushed back. Instead, a series of new root shoots, pure, white, plump, and brimming with vitality, are bursting out from the base. They branch out all around like tiny but incredibly powerful octopus tentacles, clinging tightly to every grain of soil to suck up pure drops of water. The entire vascular system inside the plant's stem has been completely cleared. The cool, refreshing sap is being pumped up continuously every second, every minute. The change underground immediately reveals itself on the outside with a completely new appearance. From a drooping, collapsed plant that seemed to have no other fate than being thrown straight into the trash, it now proudly stands tall and reaches high. The wrinkled, yellowed leaves have given way to tender young shoots, sprouting bright red right at the leaf axils. The surface of the old leaves also gradually becomes glossy, regaining its characteristic emerald green color, and especially, they become incredibly sturdy. You can use your hand to gently touch the leaf surface and feel the thickness of the newly regenerated cell membrane layer. Your plant has officially crossed the boundary between life and death, to be reborn in the most glorious way. These wonderful results once again reaffirm an undeniable scientific truth. Never underestimate the fierce vitality of the plant world. Inside every tiny plant lies a brutal and magnificent survival instinct. They are fully capable of healing all their wounds, standing up on their own to fight diseases and the harshness of the weather. They do not need toxic chemical fertilizers to sustain life. All they really need is the right catalyst, an accurate biological key to awaken their dormant defense system. And the tiny aspirin pill you just used is exactly that master key. It has broken all limits, returning to the plant its most wild and primal power. Try closing your eyes and remembering throughout all the years of being attached to gardening. How many times have you had to bitterly hold expensive potted plants and throw them into the trash just out of despair? How many times have you tormented yourself thinking you don't have a green thumb? That any plant you touch dies? But the truth is, the fault does not entirely lie with you. You are just a victim of a lack of knowledge and the deceitful advertisements from fertilizer manufacturers. Right this very day, that tragic cycle must be ended forever. You now hold in your hands the most powerful biological weapon. Do not let any potted plant in your home die in vain ever again. Stand up immediately, step out the door, and head straight to the nearest pharmacy. Buy right away a tiny blister pack of pills that carries the power to bring the dead back to life, to save your garden with your own hands. And if the profound biological knowledge in today's video truly awakens you, if it helps you break all the false prejudices you've had until now, then do not hesitate to show your support. Smash that like button to spread this value. Share this video immediately with your plant-loving friends so they too have the chance to save their dying plants. And most importantly, hit the subscribe button right now. I promise to continue bringing you even more shocking and top-tier gardening science secrets in the upcoming videos. Your garden is thirsting to live. Take action immediately. If this story has changed the way you look at the struggling plants in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the botanical history and scientific truths that they have tried to bury. Let's cultivate a stronger future together. The next hidden treasure of nature will be revealed very soon.